Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name.
Kashmir Morley.
All right, Ms. Morley, the report that I have in front of me indicates that Mr. Stevens appeared at your place of work and waited in line to speak with you.
Those are two separate events, but that's correct.
What do you mean they're two separate events?
There was a workplace event where he showed up at my place of work, and then when he was waiting in line to come to me, it was to a networking event that I was putting together, that I was hosting.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, right from the start, the witness makes it clear we're dealing with two separate encounters, not just one strange moment at work, but two different situations involving Ms. Stevens. This matters because the way the story is framed could decide the outcome of the case. Are we talking about ongoing harassment or just isolated events? Also pay attention to how sharp the questioning becomes. That's the strategy lawyers use to box in a witness, narrowing down timelines to expose any slip or inconsistency. Keep watching, because the difference between the workplace and the networking event is going to play a big role.
Well, now, I'm looking here and it just says Stevens appeared at Morley's place of work, waited in line to speak with you. When you refused to have contact with him, he waited around the venue for 10 more minutes before leaving. So now you're telling me, that sounds to me like what they're describing to me is one event, but you're saying there are two. Which one occurred first?
The workplace event. That was in March.
And the workplace event where he came to your place of work?
Where do I work?
Well, in March, you're saying he came to your place of work. Where do you work?
I put some hours in at the Ann Arbor Art Center.
Pardon?
The Ann Arbor Art Center.
So, and that was on March.
Probably would have been mid-March sometime.
And that's kind of where you would work every day?
Not every day, but I'm part-time there, so I'm there frequently.
Okay. In your mind, did he have a purpose for coming there? If he was there?
It was my understanding that there was, excuse me, I have allergies going on today. There was an exhibition, I think, that he was supposed to help out with. That's as far as I know. But the times that he showed up, there was nothing work pertaining going on, according to the people that I spoke with.
So he shows up there, and then what does he do vis-a-vis you?
One of the people that I work with said that they saw him just wandering around the building, not really with a purpose, and nobody knew who he was or why he was there.
Okay, did he see you?
I didn't see him. And I don't think
he did not see him.
Mm-mm. But I knew he was in the building because of email correspondences that were going on.
Now this is a red flag. Someone shows up at your workplace. No one knows who he is, and he's just roaming around. That's strange from a legal angle. This kind of unauthorized presence could point to stalking or trespassing, especially if a no-contact order exists. And get this, the witness doesn't even see him firsthand. They find out through emails. The tension starts to rise. Picture trying to work while someone possibly threatening is somewhere nearby, uninvited and unknown. Now think about it. How would you feel if a stranger was just drifting through your workplace?
What email correspondence?
In the workplace, I'm on like an all-staff email chain, and so I was told that he was going to come into the building for an exhibition.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong. So, you're told via this email that he's coming into the building, and at least according to that work email, he was entering that place for some legitimate purpose.
The email said that he had showed up. Nobody knew who he was, but apparently he was putting on an exhibition. So they were talking about him coming randomly out of nowhere and saying that he was there for an exhibition. So they were discussing that. And then the email said that there was an exhibition to take place in March that apparently he was supposed to be a part of, but nobody knew who he was or why he was there. That was the email.
Okay. I guess if nobody knew who he was, did they know his name?
Well, I'm sure he's probably told them his name because they said his name in the email, but in the correspondence, they said they didn't know who he was at the time that he appeared.
Do you have copies of those emails?
Not with me, no.
Do you have access to copies of them?
I could probably get some, yeah.
And then the other event took place, what was that, May 5th?
That was April 25th.
April 25th was the second thing?
Mhm.
Okay, and where did that allegedly happen?
I was hosting a networking event at Venue by 4M in Ann Arbor, and he appeared and he stood in line, and I was checking people in, and he stood in line so that I could check him into an event that I was hosting, and stood longer in line than he did at the actual event.
So you're hosting an event?
Mm-hmm. Me and the crew of other people, but I was on the hosting committee.
So he comes there, or do you?
Mm-hmm.
Would he, in going to the event, would there have been another way, assuming he's there, that he would have been able to access the event without checking in with you?
That was the only way, was to go through me. And I was an organizer on the event, so if you were paying attention to the event at all, my name was all over that. There was no way you couldn't have known that I was part of it.
Okay, but I could know that you're part of an event, can go to an event, avoid you, but prior to coming to the event, would he have known that you were at the desk or wherever it needed to be checked in?
I don't know if he knows that or not, but he had at least 10 minutes waiting in line to get to me to turn around and leave the event. And he chose to come and approach me instead.
Okay, so when he approached you, what did he say?
He said good morning and tried to have me check him in. We have a no contact order, so I didn't speak to him. And the person next to me who was helping check people in then took over because she didn't know the situation and checked him into the event. And he stayed less than 10 minutes and left at a networking event.
Okay, so he comes to the event. So it's not a circumstance where you're the only one checking people in.
Correct.
There's somebody else there.
Sitting right next to me. Yep.
Okay, so he comes up, he says good morning. Is that the only thing he said to you?
He tried to have conversation at the desk, and I didn't have anything.
Have conversation?
He checked himself in and then started talking about a hat that he was wearing and started trying to have conversation with me. And then when I didn't say anything, the woman next to me ushered him into the event, and he wasn't signed up for this event either.
Well, did you have to be?
You were supposed to be, yes.
Okay, but did you have to be?
We were letting people in anyway, but that was not the intent, because it was the first event that we were throwing.
So those are the two events?
Mm-hmm.
So are you claiming that there are any other events that took place?
I'm here because of the April 25th event.
Okay. Are you claiming that there are any other events of contact? Okay. So in mid-March, after, just so that I'm correct, mid-March, he never comes in eye shot of you, right?
That's correct.
All right, and so you don't see him.
Mm-hmm.
The April event, it's basically a public event,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's entering, and you're saying he said good morning. You didn't check him in. And then you're saying he tried to engage you in conversation, but that didn't happen.
No, with me, I mean, he spoke, but I didn't speak. And then the person next to me who was helping me check people in took him into the event.
Okay, after that event, or right at that point, did you contact the police at that point?
No, because I was there checking people in, and it was also our first event, and I didn't really feel comfortable having the police come to this event right when we were starting to host things, so I didn't know what to do.
Okay, so when did you contact the police about this?
I believe it was the following week. It might have been the week after. I can't remember the exact date. But I was speaking to the probation officer and she told me to file a police report, which is what I did.
Okay, but here's what I'm indicating or trying to figure out. This occurs April 25th, which would have been a Friday, right? Approximately what time?
The event ran from 8:30 to 9:45. So I think probably around 8:45, 9 o'clock is when he showed up.
All right. And the event ran how long that day?
Until 9:30
Till 9:30 p.m.
a.m.
a.m. So from 8:30 to 9:30 was the event. It's basically an hour. Okay.
There might have been 9:45, 9:30, 9:45 ish is when it.
Okay, that's fine. So it didn't go all day.
Correct.
And then so when did you then contact the police about this?
It was either the following week or the week after. I can't remember the exact date.
Would May 7th?
I'm not sure of the exact date, sir.
Have you read the police report on this?
No, I have not.
Jordan, would you like me to give her my copy?
Yeah, if you could, I'd just like her to read the victim statement.
Okay.
Is that statement correct?
No, this is not correct. This is jumbling the events together, and it's also not what happened.
I'm just talking about the victim statement. How is it jumbling the events together?
It says that this is the second time that he tried to speak to me. He just tried to speak to me when he came into the event. There wasn't like a time he came back to talk to me. And also placing a hat on so that no one would recognize him. That's not how that occurred.
Okay. How big was this event?
There was probably 100 people there.
Okay, so he went into the event, he didn't stay long and then left.
He waited longer in line to check in than he did at the event. Than he was at the event.
Okay, it's the second time you said that. So what am I supposed to take from that?
That he waited in line longer to get to me than he actually stayed at the event. If he was there for work, for networking, I don't know why you would say there to network.
How many of these events have you done, say, this year?
This is the first one we had this past April.
Okay. How often are you at your part-time job?
20 hours a week.
Okay. So other than this March date, I'm just talking this year at this point. Has he come into your work?
Not that I know of. I have not seen him.
Okay. And then after July of 2024, were you also participating in events?
I was not hosting them, but I was going to networking events. Yes.
So you did. So this is the first event you hosted.
Correct.
Whole encounter between you and him on April 25th is crazy. How long was that encounter?
Him speaking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Probably like 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. And I guess not that I have made a finding, what do you want the court to do?
Something so this doesn't keep happening. I'm sick of being contacted by him.
Okay. So, ma'am, you've only told me of one incident.
This is at least the third time I've called the Ann Arbor precinct about no contact violations.
But
Your Honor, I believe that she's referencing the two others that was well on that.
that were from that I've already addressed because these were sentenced after.
Correct. That's what I believe, and I'm, okay.
You're correct.
Is that, it was a December 8th and January 5th.
All throughout the time.
December 8th of 2023 and a January 5th of 2024.
The time period between December and then July, there were emails, there were letter he left in my mailbox. There was dozen times.
Right, I recall all that, ma'am. But the reason I'm using the July date is because that's when he was sentenced, right? And you're saying that so between July and this July of 2024 and the April date, has he been in contact with you?
He drives by my house all the time and says he's going to his rental unit.
One thing I remember about this case is I think he has a rental property in the same neighborhood that you're in.
I
'Cause we had
would like to know the
with
address
that.
of that, but yes.
What?
I'd like to know the address to it, but yes, that's what he's claimed.
Well, I don't think that was ever disputed at the time of sentencing, that he has a rental property up that way. And that he would go to we had a whole discussion about it.
Does he need to park in front of my house to get to his rental unit?
It's like right there. I mean,
If it's on the same street, it doesn't mean he needs to park in front of my house to get there.
So how many times are you saying that happened?
Countless times.
When that happens, does he engage you in any way? Does he heads off someplace else?
No, he sits in his car. He doesn't head anywhere else.
So when that happens, did you call the police?
Yes.
When?
I called the police as early as this week when that happened. Like Monday.
Hold on.
And they told me there's nothing that they could do about it.
Thanks for watching this video. Take care. Bye.